Hi everybody, Lamp here. Welcome to your week 3 video lab. By now you've already found the week 3 folder and you've already gone into the week 3 video lab folder. You'll see that there are quite a few objects in the folder. Don't let it alarm you. The first video is going to be where you start anyways. Now before we get into any more information, I want you to make sure you have the week 3 video lab testing for vitamin C Word document open on your computer. Now you can download this and then save it to your personal desktop and edit that way, or you can upload it into your Minos OneDrive and edit on your browser. It's entirely up to you on how you want to edit the document. I just want to make sure that you have it so it can be saved periodically as you go through with me in the lab. Now, when you look at the Word document, you'll notice that there are a few parts to it. This video is going to cover part 1, and then it's also going to talk about what to expect and do for the rest of the lab. So for part 1, we're going to be doing some pre-lab review and information, and you'll notice that there are some words and then some words missing. Those are fill in the blanks. What we're going to do is go over information on ultimately what we're going to see and why we're going to see it. And as I talk about the information, I want you to fill in the blanks as you hear me say them. Now, if you end up missing something, if you get distracted, you are always welcome to rewind the video and go back and listen to it again. So that's an option, but just try to follow along as best as you can and fill in the blanks as we kind of go through. So before we talk any more about the steps and what you're doing for the lab, let's talk about what we're actually looking at first. Now, throughout the last few weeks, we've been talking about vitamins and minerals. And we've kind of dove into more vitamins this week where we're talking about dosing and amounts. And that's because we're going to be getting into some of the calculation pieces of chemistry. And this is going to be where we start gathering some information. With vitamins, we are specifically going to focus on vitamin C for this lab. Now, vitamin C is a compound called ascorbic acid. It is a water-soluble vitamin, meaning it dissolves easily in water. Now, because of that, it's something we can easily get in our diet, but it's also something that our body gets rid of relatively quickly. So we have to intake vitamin C daily in order to meet that demand. The recommended doses for females is about 75 milligrams. The recommended dose for males is 90 milligrams. Pregnancy will bump up the requirement to 120 milligrams, and it's also recommended that people do not go above 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C. So that's just some recommendations. Vitamin C is relatively easy for us to take in. We can find it in fruit or fruit juices. And fruit juices are going to actually be one of our main focuses for the lab today. So what does this mean? When we're looking at fruit juices, our goal is to see what fruit juice has the most vitamin C. That's going to be the main part with our standard test, and then we're going to do some change-up pieces for other parts of the lab in the later videos. Now, the way we do this is by reacting ascorbic acid to iodine. And typically what we would do in this lab setting is we would have iodine and a starch solution, and that would create what we call an endpoint. Now, I'm using povidone iodine, and it's actually bonded to something else. So the iodine isn't free to actually react with starch. So we can't do the starch piece to have an endpoint, but that doesn't mean we can't react it with ascorbic acid. So it's a little weird kind of on how that works. Now, for our iodine, we're going to be using this. This is the one I have. And ultimately what's going to happen is the iodine is going to react with the ascorbic acid. And after that reaction takes place, we're going to get dehydroascorbic acid along with iodide ions and hydrogen ions. So that's the reaction piece. The way that would look if we wrote it down is I2 plus C6H8O6. Then you would see an arrow. Then you would have the dehydroascorbic acid, which is C6H6O6 plus 2 capital I negative 1. And then we would also have 2H positive 1. The lab itself is going to have some color changes, and that's one of the observations that we can make in order to know that a chemical reaction has taken place. What we will end up seeing is typically with an iodine solution, we could expect that to dye any juice or anything we added to that dark brown color that you see right here. But when vitamin C is present, it will react with vitamin C. So that color actually doesn't appear or darken our solution until the ascorbic acid is all gone. So as we look at this, we're going to add iodine drops. The iodine and ascorbic acid will react together, making two new substances. Iodine looks brown in solution. As you can see here, it's rather dark. Iodide ions are colorless. So as this reaction takes place, if the iodine is reacting with the vitamin C, it's not going to change the solution color because it's having a reaction and forming those iodide ions. Once the ascorbic acid is completely used up from the reaction, then the iodine will start turning that solution a brown color. So that's going to be what we're looking for. Now, typically, if we did this assignment at home, there would be quite a bit of material. So that's why I made it a video lab. Ultimately, what we need is some type of vitamin C solution, which we have. We're testing 5 standard fruit juices. One of the ones we're testing is orange juice. The other is apple juice. Pineapple juice. My phone is resting on the grapefruit juice. It's a larger one. Now, I have a test tube set up. I have pipettes. I have everything going. So we're going to start looking at how much vitamin C is in the juices. As I do this, what I want you to pay attention to is the color of the juice before we start. And then you want to count the drops as they're added. And that's going to be for all of the videos that you see. The goal is to count the drops that are added to the given juice. As we do that, you want to make sure you keep that Word document because in week 4, we're going to use that information to do calculations. So make sure you save that, okay? Otherwise, good luck. This concludes the pre-lab part 1 piece. The other videos will be what you go through for the next steps. Step 2, make sure you click on the standard video. That's for everybody. And then when you get to part 3, you're going to pick a different situation. Just make sure if you have a sibling or a friend in the course, you guys pick different videos. There's a couple of them. You just have to choose one of the other ones to do. And then you'll follow along, following the exact same methods that we did before. Okay? So good luck. Email me if you have any questions.